Michiana and Get Inspired Michiana. I'm Diane Bennett with Remax 100 and Inspired Homes, and our guest for Life Inspired Stories today is Seth Maust with 5 Star. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely. So just a reminder, Facebook, for when you're watching live on Life Inspired Stories, the story is about life was going along and there was some ... moment in your life, like Seinfeld's yada yada yada, or we like to say and then God for the 3 dots. And then now life is an inspired life. So you have a story to share. So tell us about your life before the dots.
So I have so many stories.
I'm sure.
I'm going to pick the one that kind of revolves around 5 Star Life.
Great.
The organization I helped co-found.
Yep.
So youth pastor, loved working with kids,
Okay.
basketball coach, and felt like, there's got to be a better way to reach more students.
Okay.
And I saw so many kids slipping through the cracks, not engaged, not involved, making bad decisions. And long story short, took this leap of faith, relocated to a new state, new city, and felt like God was just saying, I'm going to start showing up and I'm going to kind of show you what the next 40, 50 years of your life looks like.
Wow.
I was at that stage where, I was like 26, and that's when you're into your career, you know what you're passionate about, you know what your skills are, and I just felt like there was more. And so I'm now relocated.
And relocated
to Indiana.
Okay.
Elkhart, Indiana.
Okay.
And I'm about a year into this.
Okay.
And I did it by faith, so I'm feathering through my personal savings and just financially. Everybody's telling me, you're dumb, you're an idiot. You're really a smart guy, but you're making terrible decisions. You're dragging your family through this. And I got to this point where we're experimenting with the idea of 5 Star. And we're just in a school, one school, piloting this idea, this concept, this dream.
Okay.
And I'm running out of money. I love what we're doing with students, but I wrote down in my journal, God, if there's not a way to impact more students, if there's not a way to provide, if there's not a way to actually work with these students, not just during the school day and school year, but also if there's not a way for me to share my faith. I think that's important, that we not just talk about character and values and education, but God created all of us for a purpose.
Right.
And we're made for eternity. And so anyway, long story short, I write in my journal, God, we need a place to invite students to come in the summer so we can do summer programming. 2 weeks later, my brother Justin introduces me to a guy by the name of Jim Schaefer.
Right.
And I meet Jim Schaefer because he has this piece of property, and so I sit down with him. And this is a businessman, okay?
Right.
Successful businessman. So normally you go in and you kind of pitch your vision, where it's going, all the potential. 5 minutes in the conversation, I find myself pouring my guts out to this guy. And I'm thinking, it's coming out of me. I'm saying, well, I had this vision, but
I don't know what to do with it.
It's not going anywhere. I'm out of money. I don't really know if you want to invest in a sinking ship. And, we're excited about it. So I've decided I'm just going to go get a job. I'd like to invite some of these students to come up to maybe your property, and we'll do a retreat. And then I'm going to quit and go get a job. I need to be responsible. And literally, that's probably 7 minutes into the conversation, and I'm just kicking myself inside saying, what are you doing?
Why did you say that?
Why
You're supposed to ask him for money.
Why am I saying this?
Okay.
And he says, he interrupts me and says, well, you can't quit because we're going to take this all over the nation. Everything you just said needs to happen. And I want to help. I believe in this. And I thought, this man is crazier than I am. And so from that moment, it was like God intervened, and he knew that I'd taken it as far as I could on my own at the level I was at.
Right.
And he became this mentor, this supporter, who also helped give me some vision, expand my vision, and then give me some business sense to help me grow and build this thing.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, so if there was a trajectory change moment, because that's kind of what we talk about, where's the trajectory change? So was it the getting to the end of the rope financially? Was that the time that was your turnaround? Yeah, you know what, I can't do this, God, you have to do this.
Yeah, I think that, when God asks you to do something, just about everybody I know, there's this point when you step out in faith, and that place where the rubber meets the road of, I can't, this is bigger than me, and you either keep going, keep stepping, or you give up. And I've heard it said that so many people just give up just before the breakthrough. And I think that's exactly where I was. I was just about to give up, and then God showed up and was faithful. And even, I guess, being vulnerable in that moment. Sometimes we're not vulnerable and we don't share, we don't cast the vision, we're not real with people.
Right.
And so we missed the opportunity for God to step in. So that was a major trajectory shift.
That's
and so
cool.
we went from, piloting a program that was reaching 70 students to, we reached 10,000 students on a weekly basis.
Wow.
And it's growing all over the area and then
So
the nation.
yeah, so you have lots here in Elkhart County, St. Joe County, and into Michigan, right?
Correct.
And then Texas.
Yeah, so Texas, we've done pilot programs there. We have several things happening in different states because we're really in our first big stage of scaling this.
Okay.
So it started here locally, but it's scaling into Tennessee and Texas and hopefully Chicago.
Wow.
So it's
like downtown
growing.
Chicago.
So, well,
Or
we're
suburbs.
talking about Chicago Public Schools. We're going to be meeting with them, so we'll see where it goes.
Wow.
It's there's a lot up in the air, and in education, things can take a little bit of time sometimes.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
but we're very excited about some key cities and some key states that we're going to be working with
Awesome.
students in.
Well, we have lots of viewers on Facebook that are watching us now. So they can what? They can pray for 5-star and
Absolutely.
pray for the mission
Yeah.
and pray for open doors in the Chicago Public Schools and anywhere else. And maybe if they have other ideas of other places that, because like I have relatives that are Facebook friends that, might be in New Orleans, Louisiana or whatever. So if they know people there, maybe they can
Yes.
message us. So you guys message us here on Facebook if you want to get in touch with Seth and see how you can either be a prayer supporter, maybe be a financial supporter, or an idea supporter, or volunteers, because all of the work at the schools, they mostly go in junior highs, correct?
Correct.
And so they're all volunteer run. So if you want to go be a coach, that's what they call them, right? The
Yeah.
coaches.
Mhm.
So anything else that we want to ask for?
You know what? I would just encourage you to get involved. We actually turn students away from our program because we need more volunteer coaches. So what you just said is so true.
Okay.
We always need volunteers. But I would also say this. So, we believe that we're going to have even increased impact in this nation. The results we've seen, Diane, have been incredible. Over 70% of our students raise their GPA or maintain a B average or better.
Wow.
And why is that? It's because our curriculum focuses on what we believe is the number one most important things that educators should be focused on. Every successful person, every failure is so because of what? Because of a mindset.
Wow.
There's a certain mindset we have. And we put billions of dollars in this country into all the core standards, which are important. It's very important.
Absolutely.
But we don't take any time to teach kids how to
Mindset.
build healthy mindsets.
Okay.
So if you don't know how to think properly, I've heard this statistic, it's interesting. We have between 60 and 70,000 thoughts every day.
Wow.
And 90% of those thoughts are negative.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
And 85% of those thoughts we think again the next day.
Wow.
So we have these repetitive thought patterns. Well, how come nobody's talking and teaching students with all the social media, with all the pressures, how to think properly?
Right.
And how to change and think on purpose and be
Right.
intentional with your thinking that affects your emotions,
Right.
your actions, your relationships, everything you do.
Right.
So our curriculum focuses on teaching these mindsets, helping them understand how to think about their life, think about their education, think about their peers. And then it also connects them relationally. There's a lot of research that talks about how we're hardwired to be connected relationally. If we aren't connected relationally, we don't experience all that life has to offer. And we don't feel that sense of wholeness and security and confidence. So, the mindsets, the connections, and then it's all wrapped into academics. And so we're excited about the impact we're having, but we'd welcome you to be a part of the journey.
For sure. And I'm also wanting to think, just while you're talking about like the recent Florida school shooting, it's such
Yes.
a big deal, and
Yes.
the kids did their walkout because they want to make a statement.
Right.
So are you finding that some of the graduates from 5-star are the kids that are going to go to the outlying kids and say, hey, I'm better because I've been doing this. how can I help you be better? Are they?
They're doing it now. So we have students that go through our program that come back to volunteer. But it's interesting you bring up Florida because just a couple weeks ago in our program, we talk about these mindsets. And one of the things that students in our program, they go through a curriculum. They hear like a 7 to 8 minute lesson. After the lesson, there's this developmental process of journaling. So 3 or 4 questions that directly correlates to what they just heard. And one of the questions was, what is one of the dominant thoughts that you have going through your mind?
Oh, wow.
And we had a student that said, I get bullied every day.
Oh.
Every day of middle school, I've been bullied. He's an 8th grader, so for 2 years now, for the middle school he's in. And he says, I get bullied every day, and the dominant thought that goes through my head is, I want to harm the person that's bullying me. And so actually what ended up coming out is he's thinking of killing this. I mean, he thinks of bringing a gun to school and killing this kid. Well, you think about this. How does that information come out unless we're talking to these students about these things, about their mindsets, and unless we're in an environment where they can feel comfortable
to share it,
to share that.
Right.
Everybody's asking, well, how do we miss these things? Well, we miss them because we're not intentional about creating that community.
Right.
And bringing that awareness. So we're able to help this student, help teach him how to think, and then also wrap around him with the counseling and some of the supports that we can offer him. So it's not rocket science.
Right. It's the love of God.
It is.
Okay, so here's the last thing that I'm thinking. If you guys know kids that are standing up for the walkout, or if you know kids that are the marginal, maybe share this video with them, and maybe we can get them involved in learning things like 5-star. Even if they're past the junior high age, if they're in the high school age, maybe they want to be coaches and learn how to be coaches and stuff. So, because some of your volunteers are adults and some are high schoolers, right?
Correct. Yeah, we have every age range.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for coming.
My
I really
pleasure.
appreciate you being here. Guys, thanks for watching. If you want to message Seth because you've got questions about the program, I'm sure he would probably love to sit down and have coffee with you, even talk to you about pursuing your dreams like he pursued his.
Absolutely. Yes.
So thank you guys for watching, and have a great day, Facebook. Bye-bye.